right, welcome back. This is our last math lesson of the year. Can't believe it's already happening, but what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to go over kind of the last of solving radical equations. You guys did have some like this on your homework the other night or the other day, and a lot of you did them well, but some of you still needed some work. So we're just going to spend one more day practicing this up, and that'll kind of wrap up our year. I guess on a bright note, you have no final exam to take, so that's a positive. All right, in all of these, we're going to end up with a quadratic equation. So the first one, we have r equals the square root of 10r. So we need to get rid of that square root, so we're going to square both sides. That's going to leave us with r squared equals 10r. We want to get everything on one side, so we're going to subtract 10r from both sides. We're left with r squared minus 10r equals 0. We could certainly use the quadratic formula or completing the square for this, but probably the quickest method is to just factor. We're going to factor out the GCF. So we would have r times the quantity, r minus 10 equals 0. And then using the zero product property, this gives us an answer of 0 and 10. Okay, so we get two answers, 0 and 10. We want to check those. If we put 0 into the original, we'd have 0 equals the square root of 10 times 0. So 0 equals square root of 0, works out, square root of 0 is 0. And if we check 10, we would have 10 equals the square root of 10 times 10. So 10 equals the square root of 100, which is true. So we get two solutions, r equals 0 and 10. Okay. For the next one, again, we are going to square both sides. This will leave us with m squared equals 56 minus m. We want to get everything on one side of our equations. We're going to add m to both sides. Take away 56 from both sides, so that'll give us minus 56 equals 0. Now in this case we have a trinomial, so when we're factoring, we want to think about what multiplies to 56, but then adds up to a positive 1, and that would be 7 times 8. So if we make plus 8 and then minus 7, that gives us that negative 56, but here we get negative 7m and positive 8m, which if we add those together, we'd get that positive 1m in our middle term. Okay. We can then use the zero product property, so we get negative 8 and 7. When we go to check those answers, our first one would say negative 8 equals the square root of 56 minus negative 8. I know this is not possible because we can't have a square root end up equaling negative. So that would be an extraneous solution. We want to check 7. So we'd have 7 equals the square root of 56 minus 7. Well, 56 minus 7 is 49. So that works out true. So we get one solution, m equals 7. Okay. The next two follow kind of the similar pattern. So for the next one, we have, again, we're going to square both sides. So we'd get b squared equals negative 4 plus 4b. So that squaring will undo the square root. I'm going to get everything on one side. So that'll be negative 4b, and then a positive 4 equals 0. We have to factor this. We need to think about what multiplies to positive 4 but adds up to negative 4. So what multiplies to positive 4 is 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. But the only way to add up to a negative 4 would be if we make this negative 2 and negative 2. So this gives us a positive 4 when we multiply our last terms. And then negative 2b and negative 2b gives us that negative 4b in the middle. So when we use our zero product property, we get the same answer, positive 2. So we get one solution. We want to check that with our original equation. Okay, so we'd have 2 equals negative 4 plus 4 times 2. So this would be negative 4 plus 8, which is the square root of 4, which is 2. So that checks out. So we get one solution that b is 2. Okay, and then the last one, again, we're going to square both sides. This gives us r squared equals 8r. I'm going to get everything on one side. So I'm going to take away 8r from both sides. This is a binomial, so we're going to factor it just by factoring out that GCF. So we would have r times the quantity r minus 8 equals 0. Our zero product property gives us two solutions, 0 and 8. And then if we check them, we'd have 0 equals the square root of 8 times 0, which that would be 0 equals square root of 0, so that's good to go. And then 8 equals the square root of 8 times 8. And yes, 8 is the square root of 64, so that's good. So we get two solutions in this one, 0 and 8. Okay, so those will be the two situations that you'll see on your homework today. It's again a worksheet, so you guys did great with just copying that either on a piece of paper or doing it digitally. That was all fine, but make sure you show your work for credit. And then Wednesday is our last official day for the A schedule. So we will have a closure activity to do on that day. But this is your last math lesson of the year. I hope you guys have a great day, and then message me if you need anything.